I went to the Pursuit of Truth. So this is reflecting more on my mum's passing. Um, it's been over 2 weeks now. I can't remember when I did the last one. Did I already talk about, because I saw her in the mortuary, and then the funeral was yesterday. I don't know, it's just, I still get those moments where I forget and then remember, and or reflect on it, or trying to remember the past and stuff. Is the thing I noticed at the funeral um, was wanting really to believe that there is a hereafter, because I was starting to question it recently about, how could we have this place, this heaven, like the science behind it, let's say it like that. But then maybe I'm looking at it in a physical term, whereas it's like the soul is not physical. If there is such a thing, maybe there is no such thing as the soul, but or that's our brain or a consciousness. Some people talk about energy, that energy can't just evaporate, but then I guess it's like a battery, like once the battery runs out, it runs out, isn't it? So is that like our bodies? There is no transference of energy? I don't know. Or like thinking, if it is some kind of energy that comes out of us, where does it go? How does it go? You think of the sky, the heavens, or whatever. But how would it get to this place? Unless, like I know the Quran mentions that heaven is in the same place as earth, and maybe that's it. Maybe heaven is just all around us. We just can't see it because, like, infrared or whatever, it's maybe that could explain ghosts and things. I don't know, but I just so yesterday wanted to believe there is a hereafter, so that I do get another chance to see my mum. But I don't know. I don't know. And then I'm thinking about, that afterlife thing I talked about, and that when people, they see the white tunnel and stuff, but then some people put it down to the brain. That's because the brain is one of the last parts of your body to go, and when you lose consciousness or you start to die, your brain is deprived of oxygen, and maybe this is the way for the brain to sort of like go into dream mode. And because we've been programmed about the white tunnel and God and heaven and this, that, and the other, our brain gives us that to make us feel, don't worry, this is like a dream would do. Imagine that, and you're going and you're thinking, this is what I'm thinking, imagine you're doing that and you're going through the white tunnel thinking, yes, there is heaven, I'm going to get there, well, I'm going to see all these people that I love. I don't know whether you'd have that kind of consciousness within a brain if it's starving of oxygen or dying, but like you do in dreams. And then it just shuts off, and that's it. And you don't know that because you just shut off, and like like a light switch going off, and that's it. And you don't even know that there wasn't even a heaven or whatever, and the people left behind don't know because they don't experience that. And maybe those people that come back from that experience, all they're experiencing is just that little bit. They weren't actually experiencing some kind of transcendent thing. It was just they were explaining a dream they had, and then the reason why they know what happened to them surgically is because their ears are still working, and they've seen enough documentaries, or can guess a certain thing. I'm sure, like saying I was on a table and there was a knife and there was an oxygen mask and the doctor was working on me. They're quite like generic things. Maybe you might mention some piece of equipment, you might get lucky on it, but you've seen it or whatever, who knows, and you're just recounting a dream, or that process of dying dream, rather than actual, you physically went somewhere. I just really wish there is such a place, so that it can right the wrongs of this place and this existence, and that we can get to see our loved ones again. But this process of grief has been sort of up and down, and it's not like the 7 phases. It's like you just keep flittering between them, especially like the anger and the what ifs of, especially because it was an unexpected. You know, I mean, Mum did have sort of a progression of things, and the the coroner's come back that it was a pulmonary embolism and COPD. So that was undiagnosed because Mum didn't really like going to the hospital and things. So she must have been, you know, I mean, maybe she didn't get to much stage of the COPD, and it just was because of the edema that she had, that just caused the P before she get to the more oxygen deprived side of things. So maybe it was best if that was going to be the outcome, because you don't want to think of people in, you know, like struggling to breathe and things, especially people that don't want to seek medical attention. But it just sort of makes you think about what if she, you know, wasn't like that, and that she did want to. I don't really understand it, to be honest, but each person is different, and we're all of different ages. I'm sort of like a hypochondriac and anxious about things, and always, you know, like in here and in my poems talking about death and loss and this, that, and the other. And I want to so hold on to life, not because I love it, because I don't love it. It's such a shitty experience, really, because it could be such a brilliant experience, and there's all the potential for a brilliant experience, but the way that our system and man-made constructs are is not. But I just want to stay here to experience it, but also for the loved ones, you know, my mum, my dad, my sister Karen, you know, and my wife Aniki, and Misha, Alina, and Aidan, being around for them as long as possible so that they don't have to. But then I'm sort of through this strange phase where when I come back, I'm the father with my kids, and I'm sort of like repeating my childhood, but for their childhood, and they will have the same fears as me, and it's sort of like a really weird mind game, as it were, because I'm thinking about my childhood and wishing I could go back to Christmas and all that kind of stuff, and yet here I am now as the father doing the same thing, creating those same memories. And it's really like weird, you know, because it's like as if there's like 2 times, if it were. I don't really know if I've explained that properly, but I guess that is the regurgitation, like the circle of life. Your parents do the things to you, teach you, and you have all those great experiences with your father and your mother and your siblings, and then you grow up and do the same things with your kids, and then they go and do the same things, and it's sort of like this repeating thing. But it's just really bizarre, because you want to get back to your childhood. I want to get back to, I wish I could reverse time and spend more time with mum, or, you know, have those experiences again. But I can't. But now I'm creating new ones with my kids, and they will maybe think the same thing. Like this moment that I'm capturing now, they're still young, but they may grow up to my age, if I'm still alive or whichever, and thinking about the same things that I'm now talking about, like when one of us passes, and wishing we could go back. And it's such a cruel thing, this loss and death. Because it's like that. I mean, the thing is the absence, isn't it? That's the thing. It's like you can't do anything about it. You just so desperately want that person back, but that's impossible. And everything else is just. And that's the other thing that I always thought about, is like, when I'm gone, what will it be like? And that's why now I've had really first-hand experience in a way I've never had it really before. That when Mum passed, you know, seeing her on the mortuary table, and she's no more there. You know, she died, you know, from days before that. You know, just that idea that life continued, and it did just continue. Yeah, obviously, me, you know, my wife, my family, Dad and Karen, they, you know, we suffer this loss and the grief process of wanting that person back again. What ifs and what happened and how, you know, she didn't seem like she was going to die, you know, but then these sudden unexpected and things happen, and pulmonary embolisms and COPD is apparently quite prevalent, especially as we get older, and a main cause of death. And unexpected deaths are quite a main cause. I mean, at least she died at home, which I think she probably would have preferred than in a hospital. But it's just that fact that life continues, and it does just continue. Everything continues without you. It's like, oh, well, what was the point then? Everything just, I mean, I don't know. Just I always thought about that. How is that going to be? You know, always thinking about from my perspective of like, one moment I'm alive, I'm doing something, I'm worrying about all the worldly things that I have to worry about. I'm watching, something, and then without me having any control of it, that's it. It's gone. I'm dead. And then everyone around me is crying and mourning. I'm like either dead in nothingness or going on to this other existence, the afterlife, hopefully. And then everyone else is left to pick up the pieces, and everything, all the things that I did or had are still there, like as memories, trinkets, and I've written poems about that. And then, but everything just continues and people grieve and are sorrowful and sad and crying and angry and confused, and time slowly goes on, and then you start to go back to before, but always with that memory and that hurt still there. Yeah, that person's experience is gone now. Their one existence is gone. I mean, if you're lucky, you live a long, sort of peacefulest kind of life without too much troubles. But there's lots of people that live very short lives or very painful or suffering, which of course I go on about on this thing a lot. We need to do something about, but I don't know. It's just that kind of concept, and also the idea of like, with it being unexpected, I'm always thinking like, did Mum know that moment? Did she feel something, or did she just, that was instant? That just, like, if it was COPD, pulmonary embolism, a blood clot shot straight to her lung, shot straight to her heart, and then that was it, and she didn't feel nothing. Because the way my dad describes it, she just sort of was talking and then just wasn't. So did she didn't even like it, and I don't know, like, is that good or is that worse? Do you want to know that you're going to die so that you can say I love you or goodbye? But that also has that idea of like, I don't know, like, would I? And I try to think of my sort of view, because when I get like a heart fluttering or a pain, it could be stomach or it could be just a rib thing, and I'm thinking, oh my God, is this the moment when I'm going to die? Praying to God, please don't let this be the moment. No, it's not yet. One day, like I always say, that's going to be that moment, and I get fearful when that moment happens and thinking this is it, and oh my God, what am I going to do? Do I need to tell someone? Should I just keep it to myself? Do I need to phone the police, phone the ambulance? But because I'm sort of hypochondriac and anxious, it might not be nothing. But so that's where my dilemma is. I fear that sometimes that I may not do something because I'm thinking, oh, it's just me being anxious, whereas that may be the real one this time. So would you want to feel that? Would you want to know that this is the moment you're going to die? Because that carries with it the fear and the pain, maybe, but it also gives you the chance to sort of maybe do something about it or say goodbye. I don't know, like if it's a long thing like cancer or something like that, there's a lot of pain and a lot of suffering that goes on, and I don't know whether it's better to just. But then for the family, I suppose it depends which view you view of yourself. It may be better for yourself to just go. Unexpectedly, happily, as opposed to a long drawn out suffering, which is maybe not good for you. And also, is it better for your family? Because for your family, it may not be, because like with us, is thinking about, well, we didn't expect this, and there's an extra sort of sorrow to that, and unexpectedness, and what ifs, and like, how did this happen? Why did this happen? All that kind of stuff. But would it have been better if it was cancer and she would have been suffering in a hospital, going to see her suffering and in pain, and just so that you could prepare for their demise? That's probably a bit selfish, really. So I don't know, maybe it is better that Mum's death was just unexpected and she didn't know about it and we didn't know, because We all have to die, isn't it? That's the truth. And I know that's the thing we don't talk about enough. We all have to die, and we're all going to do it. As much as we fear it, as much as the pain may be, and all that kind of stuff. The people that 100 years ago are no longer here, and me, I'm talking to you now. This is the difference with this generation that I'm in, is that I'm preserved on YouTube for as long as it's there, or on videos and stuff, as long as they're uploaded or kept there, almost as if like a ghost alive. I'm living, talking to you now, but at any time I may not be anymore, and then that's just like an engraved memory for everyone to see forever. But we're all going to die, and that's the truth. So I don't know, maybe it is better to be just unexpected, so you, because I suppose the person is the one you've got to think about, because they're the one going through it. It wouldn't be nice to suffer. It'd be better, like everyone says, to like die in your sleep. That's unexpected, isn't it? You're just sleeping there and you die in your sleep, and that's seen as a good thing. It's strange that because your mum was awake, that it seems like not a good thing. If she'd been asleep and she just never woke up and she died in her sleep, that's what most people put down as the way they want to die. I always think about that. I always think about, I wish me and my wife, we could just sort of be in bed and just die together at the same time, so neither of us to suffer of the loss, which is another suffering, isn't it, or a pain. I assume that's what the other person wanted, but it's just, well, you wouldn't want that if it was too early, because you want someone to look after Misha and the twins and etc. But if you were really old and everyone was everything was okay. So I don't know. It's strange that, isn't it strange? Like, it doesn't seem like a bad thing when people die in their sleep, but somehow if it's unexpected, and dying in your sleep is unexpected, but so I don't know why there's a disconnect between that. So I don't know. Maybe it was. I don't know. Just it makes me feel, Plus, also, I know, like towards the end, Mum was suffering a little bit, with crying and distraught, and maybe she had thyroidism caused by COPD, and I've got a bit of a wheeze there. Do you hear that? A bit of a cold. I have to get myself checked out for COPD, because it can be genetic. I remember I had that cough thing for 2 years. 2 years ago for about a year, wasn't it? But I had x-rays and spirometry, and they didn't seem to think it was anything. Well, they thought I had undiagnosed asthma for 40 odd years. But I've been perfectly fine. That's the first wheeze I've had in ages. It's quite bizarre, really, since why it's come now. I don't know. All I can say is, like, to me, in my 48 years, the day my dad called me to tell me, on Facebook Messenger, Mum died during when I was working right here, was the worst day of my life so far. And it was just, it took me time to get back. 4 days I was off work, well, actually, and the Saturday and Sunday, and to come back here, because here was where it happened, that phone call. And because he was at the hospital at the time when he phoned me, so actually I was probably doing the Pursuit of Truth, like I said. Was it 717 or whatever one it is, that long one? I was in the middle of doing that when, unbeknownst to me, she passed away. That's another thing sort of hurts me a bit, is that side of it, and her reclusiveness that made it difficult for me. I suppose, no matter what, death is always painful and with grief and sorrow. And then you feel like, once you sort of start to feel sort of a little bit normal, and I've got like a family to look after and start that same process they did with me, and have to be happy for them and make all those memories, and they're then going to have that same fear and sorrow. I remember I used to always go to bed at night praying for my mum and dad to live forever, and now that prayer is over, as it were. Now my mum's passed, and you feel guilty when you feel like like getting sort of back to normal, as it were, even though obviously I cried at the funeral. Strangely, I didn't cry at the mortuary, which I was expecting. And then today it felt like did this really happen? And then my sister was mentioning that as well, and it's like, it's really bizarre. This process of grief is horrible, really, and it doesn't really go away. Yeah, you get, I'm for the first time in a few weeks I listened to some music, and obviously I'm watching snooker or TV, but there's moments where, especially at night time, when I'm just lying there thinking, imagining those moments of mum suffering, or the death, or my dad telling me how it happened, or my sister telling me how it happened, and all that stuff. And always at night is when I think a lot, and then sometimes I can't sleep and I have to go down. And like that day when I was filming the thunder because I couldn't sleep, because that's when my sister told me about how things happened, and how, the edema, how long it was for, and mum crying and stuff, which really did me in, thinking about that aspect of where I didn't really know too much about that. I wasn't told, and I guess to keep it from me so that I didn't unnecessarily suffer. But I feel sort of guilty that I was enjoying life not knowing this was going on, and feeling mum suffer. I don't know where I've lost track where I was talking about it now, but it's just, that's sort of like, because I'm the survivor and feeling guilty of surviving and still being alive and having to get on with things, but still, like I say, I think about that and I cry. Or like that day when, that's what I was talking about, I looked at there was out that day 3 hours I slept in the end, but I was watching the thunder, getting wet for an hour, videoing it all, and I was hoping that I could see a sign, in the sky or something of mum, because Karen said after the day that she passed, she saw in the sky like a cloud that looked like, mum used to do this like Taurus the bull thing, so she saw something like that, and I was looking for something. I wanted to see something. I've been constantly looking for these things. I watch Ghost Theory and all these different ghost things. I don't know if I really believe in it. I'm interested in paranormal and all that kind of stuff, and truth and all that. But I've already wanted to see something to make me feel that, yes, because I prayed to these pink clouds. I think I told you about this, that I did that before when I wanted to find love. I think I did it for this play I was doing, Life of John Doyle, my pseudonym. I don't know if I did it in reality anyway, and I prayed, and then that came true. So I saw these pink clouds, I prayed them, please mum, if you're here, if you're in heaven, everything is okay, please give me a sign that's definitive. I haven't seen it yet. I know my brain is really looking for it, looking in the clouds for things, or the thunder, desperate to know that she's okay and that I will see her again. Anyway, anyway, take it easy, God bless.